What is up, awesome people, and welcome back to another Wi-Fi Wednesday shenanigans! And not just any old shenanigans tonight, I am bringing you something a little bit different for Wi-Fi Wednesday. We're doing our usual shenanigans, of course, but this time it's more of a let's see how much I can criticize myself on how I went wrong in these battles. So tonight I am actually not showing any victories, I'm actually showing 2 losses in a way of demonstrating how to go about improving oneself when it comes to competitive play. One thing I always tell a lot of people is to often save your replays if you do lose, even if it's like a monstrosity loss 4-0 or whatever. Save them and look over and review whereabouts you could have gone wrong. So I did have some slaughterhouses and I thought, you know, that's kind of an obvious where I've gone wrong. These ones are somewhat close to somewhat enjoyable as well, but at the same time I can still criticize myself on where I've gone wrong or turning points where I could have actually performed better or done a better play in order to have a different result in the battle. So enjoy this little different shenanigans for tonight, and let me know if you guys actually do enjoy the other perspective of me losing and then criticizing myself on how I could have played in retrospect. Obviously, of course, these were done on live stream, so at the time I had a different type of mindset on how I should play, which is always one thing. On the spot battling is a bit different to retrospect. Do keep that in mind, of course, but the fact that I'm coming through now and reviewing my own performance and going, right, I should have done this a lot better is one way of improving oneself, as I've already mentioned. So anyways, let's get into the first shenanigans for tonight. So as I said, these are all losses, so don't expect any wins. However, as I said, there are actually somewhat close battles. Alright, so our first battle, of course, is up against a Japanese player, as of course these are from the international competition from February. Of course, at the same time I am doing the April one as well, so do keep an eye out for that. So I'm going to leave with the usual shenanigans here. As I said, I've already criticized this lead. This lead has so many issues with it. I got the Hariyama and Slowbro lead. Go for the fake out there on the guard chomp. Now that is actually probably the most decent play I could have done here. Of course, the other issue, of course, being Demise, being able to almost one-shot my Slowbro with Power Whip. At the same time, I've got to get lucky there and hope that it does miss, but in that case, it does bring me down to the very low red there. Wiki Berry does kick in there, so I can bring myself back up to over half health there thanks to that, and then get the Trick Room up. So basically, turn 1 is, I couldn't have played that any better. I think I did carry Executor on the back, but I didn't really want to risk swapping out there, because then I would risk losing 1 turn already, and then I'd have to set up next turn, which is kind of a loss of turns. Anyways, they're going to send in their Mimikyu here, so that's always a major issue. So I go for Ice Beam here onto Demise. That's going to do decent damage there, considering I had no special attack investment at all in my Slowbro. And of course, I do get the evade there from Power Whip, which is always awesome. Do go for the Poison Jab there to knock the Demise down to the red, and I do get the Poison there, which is awesome. So I think one of the major issues here is what I also pointed out in my live stream. My Slowbro at this stage does not have Flamethrower, which was something I was going to change before I went into the International Challenge, but for some odd reason kept slack off on this set. So if I had Flamethrower there, that would have been more of a better situation there, because then I would have Flamethrower the Demise, would have taken that out, and then I could have focused the Mimikyu with Poison Jab from Hariyama. But of course, as I said, that was kind of a bad bit on my bit, because I think that's major retrospect there in general, my moveset. I was actually going to change it, but I completely forgot to, and there was a lot of occasions throughout the International Challenge where Flamethrower definitely would have been a major plus there on that moveset. It's a bit of a oversight there on my part. Anyways, Demise does go down to Scold, I think it was, and Player Off does take out the Hariyama, so that was bound to happen. I think I probably could have done a better play there and probably swapped into someone else. Anyways, Cloister comes in, so I do send in Vikavolt, so at this point everything is looking pretty fine and dandy on my part. I'm sending in Vikavolt, which is super effective to Cloister. So most times I go for Shell Smash here. So I go for Scold, and I do miss out on the kill there. I don't think there was anything else there I could have really done. Thunderbolt on the Cloister, and I should have known this had Sash. So what I probably could have done there was actually target the Cloister knowing that it had Sash, because I think I actually said most times it's either White Herb or Focus Sash. I think more times it does lean towards Focus Sash being the more common item on Cloister, so I have to tell sometimes what they're going to run. So because of that, my Vikavolt is going to get absolutely hammered there by Rock's bloody Rock Blast. I do leave surprisingly, which is awesome, and Slowbro does get taken out by Shadow Claw. So unfortunately, I think Slowbro is going to faint there regardless of what was going to happen, and Mimikyu does just miss out on the KO there from life or recall damage, so that was a bit unfortunate. So I think that's why I went for Scald there, just thinking maybe I'd be able to take her down to range where life orb would take out. But anyways, unfortunately this turn, because I failed to take out the Cloister and I had almost all that damage done to Vikavolt, I do go out to Shadow Sneak. and the low fall damage does eventually kill the Mimikyu, but I could have actually taken out the Mimikyu probably from that stage if I still had Vigavolt around better health. So for that stage, I do take out the Cloyster with the Flamethrower here, so that goes down as well. So I think it's a 1v1 from this stage. So as I thought from this stage, I was like, oh, this is all good because it's 1v1. I can take out their Garchomp because I Draco Meteor, which is, I think, around Oko from this range. But there was a bit of a hindsight here. It's got Substitute, which I've actually never seen up until this point. So I have heard of Garchomp having Substitute. I think most times it's the bulky variants that run the Substitute. So Substitute, Sword Dance, Outrage or Dragon Claw and Earthquake I think tend to be their movesets, so I actually wasn't expecting this because, as I said, it's the first time I've seen this particular variant. So all I can do here is just hope that Draco Meteors might all land the Substitute and it goes down to the red, therefore can't use Substitute anymore, and then take it out from there. So at this time as well, as like, I know I can live an unboosted Outrage or Dragon Claw. At the moment I don't know what its move is. So I just got to hope on that I can keep taking out Substitute and prevent it from using something like Sword Dance, which I think is going to be its move, which is, as I said, something that it tends to run on these particular variant sets. So it's finally down into red, so I'm like, okay, I need Draco Meteor to miss. Hit. Well, it missed. We all saw that coming. So unfortunately, I failed to take out the Substitute that turn, which allowed the Garchomp to set up the the Sword Dance. So now it's at a +2. I'm like, well, it's game there because either they're running Dragon Claw and they do get min damage. I think I might be able to live that. I think. Don't quote me. I need citations on that one. If it's got Outrage, it's game over. So Draco Meteor does land that turn. Does break the Substitute, which is kind of unfortunate because if I did manage to land it last turn, it would have taken out the Garchomp from that range. So that was very unfortunate on my part. But as I said, there's probably like tiny little nitpicks throughout that battle I could have actually done better. I think the biggest one would have been like taking out the Cloyster a bit earlier. Did both a double up from Slowbro and Vigavolt to take that out, knowing that it should have had a Focus Sash. That would have been like the biggest priority rather than going for the Mimikyu, because I could have taken Mimikyu out quite easily with a double gang up, I guess. It was kind of good though going for the 1v1, but as I said in the end, it was a 1v1, then relying on luck. But unfortunately as well there, the luck didn't turn out to be the way that I wanted it to. So as I said, a lot of little bits there I probably could have improved on that whole battle to get a different result. But in the end now, I think I was quite happy to even get the result that I did. The fact that it come down to one little miss from my Draco Meteor that made a huge difference that whole entire battle. Alright, so that's our first battle. So we got our one last battle for tonight, because as I said, that was a really long battle, the first one, thanks to the substitutes at the end there. So again, this one is another loss, and I think this one might have been like one little hindsight that I should have done right at the start of the battle, which made the entire battle really, really different, I suppose. Like, if I changed one little bit at the start, I probably would have ended up in a victory. But as you'll see here, we've got the Snorlax and a Ninetales, and I always hate seeing Snorlaxes as their leads, especially with Ninetales with Aurora Veil, which is exactly what's going to set up. So Ninetales is known for this, Aurora Veil, Blizzard. Encore, I think it's out of Move and Protect. Might be like Freeze Dry as well, maybe. Maybe. I haven't seen any of them yet, but that's a thing. So anyways, I actually didn't go for the Fake Out here because I wanted to focus the Snorlax in case it went for the Belly Drum or something like that. So even with the Aurora Veil up, which reduces physical and special moves by 50%, I still did over 50% damage there, which was amazing. I think it was close to like 60 or maybe even 65% damage there, which was, as I said, extremely awesome. What I should have done though was I actually should have faked out the Ninetales, prevented the Aurora Veil, got my Trick Room up, and then blasted the Snorlax, so I would have OHKO'd it, considering I did that much damage with the 50% drop. And just because of that one little mistake there, not playing my usual plays, that actually makes a huge difference on this battle. So again, another demise. This lead hates demise. So with the Aurora Veil up, I don't do anything with Scald there. I do pathetic damage. I do manage to take out the Snorlax though with the close combat, which is cool. Obviously made no difference because obviously it didn't get a Belly Drum up, and for all I knew, it probably had Pulverizing Pancake as its Z move because it didn't have Gluttony, which is what most Snorlaxes do run, the Gluttony with Figgy Berry, so that was also crossed off the list. So I am thinking it did have Pulverizing Pancake, or it was something completely different, who knows. Could have been Chesto for all I knew. Anyways, I got a big problem, Demise and Ninetales now. So Ninetales can screw me over with Moonblast for Hariyama if it's carrying that, and Demise can hit me really hard with Shadow Claw or Power Whip. So I go for Ice Beam there because of 50% drop. I do, again, little damage. Again, no special attack investment at all. It really doesn't help either. Again, Flamethrower would have been very handy there because I could have hit both of them. So Shadow Claw comes my way. And I am not too sure if the crit mattered here. I got a crit, which was very unfortunate. So I'm not too sure if that mattered. I'm thinking it didn't. I did get the flinch though on the rock slide, and at the same time I did miss the demise as well with the rock slide as well. So what I probably should have done as well was just screw the rock slide, just gone straight for poison jab or close combat, hit the Ninetales. I don't think I did any damage to it as well, which was the other thing, because I think most times as well Ninetales runs Focus Sash, which was another thing that was in the back of my mind. So Ninetales is going to swap out again, predicting the Poison Jab, which is very good play on their part, because I did go for Poison Jab. I don't know why I went Poison Jab when I could have just gone close combat. Again, that was another thing I could definitely pick up on, was I should have just gone for close combat and just gone for the kill. So Primarina, we all have the little meme going on here that Primarina does nothing, it just comes in and dies, like that, for example. I am running health, special attack. I think I'm running like max health and then not close to special attack max. I can't remember the exact EVs in Primarina. Primarina does work, just not in this particular team, unfortunately. Alright, so as you can see, all those dodgy little plays that I should have done are actually starting to kick up on me. It's like really starting to kick me quite hard. So I got Mudstell, and because of that Ninetale still being in the back, that's the only thing that's in the back of my mind. Also this thing, Sugarberry Metagross. It's not something I see every day, but it happens. So I was like, oh damn, that's a problem too. So at the moment they've got the control on this battle, unfortunately. I do finally take out Demise, which is great, because that would have just power whipped my Mudstell. Anyways, Explosion from Metagross. Okay, that was in the back of my mind as something it could potentially do. With Demise as the ally, it could have just exploded. Had that still sticking around and just caused me some problems. So my Mudstell does live because of its amazing bulk and amazing HP as well, plus stamina as well. Unfortunately, I do lose Hariyama, but that was bound to happen. Trick Room also wears out at the worst possible time, and of course the remaining Pokemon is, as I said, the Ninetales, which I should have probably taken out earlier with close combat if it wasn't running the Focus Sash. Could have been running Light Clay for all I knew to boost the turns of Light Clay, but I think that only lasted 5 turns, which makes me think it was sashed. Regardless, if I'd faked out that very first turn, I actually would have taken out the Ninetales, because that would have removed the Sash, would have close combat it, removed that, and that would have been a completely different ending. So as I said there, a little bit different tonight's setup for Wi-Fi Wednesday. Hope you guys enjoyed the different perspective of actually me criticizing the way that I played rather than just commentating saying what just happened. I actually went through in this time and reviewed what I could have done differently. Of course, looking at retrospective perspective rather than just going what I should have done, which I think it's all archived anyways on live stream. It is, if I remember, I'll link it in the description below. Most times I end up forgetting. But as I said, gotta keep that in mind as well. Retrospective perspective of that. Why? That's redundant. Retrospect is obviously a lot different. I can actually review and think in the back of my head, okay, this is something I've got to keep in mind for the next time I play. Ninetales, just go straight for the fake out, then close combat, whatever. If it's a Snorlax, just let it belly drum, set up the Trick Room, for example. Just little things like that is things I can just take on board, and next time I see Pokemon like that, I can obviously play a bit better. But anyways, I've ribbled on enough. Next week, maybe even tonight, depending on how I feel about doing another video, maybe a double upload. If not, next week there'll be obviously back to the normal format for Wi-Fi Wednesday. But let me know if you guys do enjoy this type of narration, if it is me going over and reviewing the way that I actually battle, if there's ways I could have improved that battle. But anyways, until next time, this is Lady KrimZen saying ciao for now, but not forever. Ciao!